must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Viewers and the comrades, the people, the Pan-African people of Africa, and mainly the people of Kenya. Elections in Africa create difficulties. Everywhere in Africa, you find conflicts emanating from elections. Results declared, the loser does not come out to concede. Elections, if not well managed, can trigger the worst crisis for any nation in Africa. It is therefore very prudent for the people of Kenya not to buy populist ideas and forget the hinge point of electoral reforms, electoral injustices, electoral systems, mechanisms that can change Kenya and bring a credible results of an election where the losers and the winner will agree this was a fair contest. Given that circumstances, the circumstances that surround our badly managed elections, Kenya faces this challenge. A referenda of reducing MPs to zero does not solve your problem, because that problem of Kenya is a structural challenge. It's a structural challenge in the sense that the structures themselves give access to more money stolen, to more money hidden, to more money misappropriated by various institutions. Therefore, to have credible electoral reforms, credible electoral systems, credible electoral mechanisms will resolve 1/3 of the Kenya's problems, in that we shall have credible, proportionally elected people who represent all the views of the people of Kenya. That is my take, and that's the take of anybody who looks at the current situation, that any group that would come up and does not discuss the question of elections in Africa and in Kenya as a case study, and use it and look at how many dead bodies do we always collect when we mention the word elections. It is all over Africa. In Uganda, it is happening. In Zimbabwe, as we speak now, they are on the streets of Harare. It's because of elections. They want to come and overthrow and break down everything in Zimbabwe. It's elections. So elections in Africa create conflicts. But how can we stop violence before and after elections? Is through proportional representation of the model of South Africa, which has held elections, but there's peace on the streets of the cities. Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, my people of Kenya. That's my message. I stand to be corrected, but I think it is only until you get a proportional representation system that will deliver every part of this country into your house of representation, into your elections, is when stability and tranquility will be permanent forever in this country. Thank you.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is. It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, he is our son and he is our thief.
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers, do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in the region.
We look at issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
In Uganda, and anybody who deceives himself that he can disturb peace in Uganda is wasting his time. So therefore, as I promised you, after those riots which happened on the 18th of the other month, I told you that those riots will not happen again. If they happen, they will be dealt with decisively, not like the other time. When we were like, when the police were like caught by surprise, and the response was slow. So I therefore thank the people of Uganda, and I congratulate you for turning up in big numbers and voting for the candidates and for the parties of your choice. I think this may turn out to be the most cheating-free election since 1962. Since 1962, we have been having a problem of people want to cheat in the elections. This has been the chronic problem of Uganda. Multiple voting, underage voting, were the ballot stuffing, were the biggest problems. And that's what I've been fighting all these. One of the things I've been fighting all these years, because in 1962 I was a member of DP, and I know how much the history of Uganda was distorted by not having free election that time. The people who distorted the election of 1962 were two. One was our people of UPC, who believed in multiple voting and cheating and so on. I remember my friend Elia Kategaya, who was slightly older than me, who was therefore underage, because at that time the voting age was 21. He did not only vote, but he voted 8 times. Now, that was one of the distorting factors of that time. Then you had Kabaka Yeka. Kabaka Yeka, with their confused tribal ideology, they were engaged in intimidation, intimidating the DP supporters in Buganda, cutting their coffee if you didn't agree with them, so that people again did not express their opinion. That was the beginning of the trouble, actually. since that time, I have been struggling to make sure that a vote means a vote. When we say one person, one vote, it should be one person, one vote. And as I said in my speech the other time on the eve of the elections, I told you that if you interfere with the voting, then you interfere with accountability. Because if I can win, whether the people vote for me or not, that means I don't have to go back and solve their problems. Because even next time, I will use the same method and win without the people voting for me. It is therefore treason to interfere with the principle of one person, one vote. After a long struggle, I think I'm about to succeed in controlling that criminality. And this one has been helped by the introduction of the thumbprint read by the computer to know that this is no other person other than Museveni. Now, I am told some people are trying to avoid voting by the machines. And I'm told that some people were disabling the machines so that they allow the cheating. But I'm told that the machines were rectified, and in many cases, people voted by the machines. Now, voting by machines made sure there is no cheating. We are going to audit because on account of the removal of the internet, there was no immediate transmission of the voting patterns from each polling station. But we are going to audit and see how many people voted by fingerprints and how many of those who voted without, by just using the register. So therefore, on account of the thumbprint identification machines, this may turn out to be the most cheating-free election in the 58 years of Uganda's independence. On this occasion, I will not address the political, economic, and social factors that one could see in these elections. These elections are actually very good. I'm very happy with them myself because they are taking us into the realm of real politics of principles, and we shall do our part in terms of using this grown population of Uganda, which was only 14 million in 1986, it's now 46 million. So the issues are coming up, and we are very happy and ready to engage in the debate in the debates of the political, economic, and social factors that influence politics. On this occasion, I will simply mention the 2 points that start with the NRM itself, our party. The NRM, when we were in the bush, had one line, the mass line, the line of the people, where political actors act only in the interest of the people, not in the interest of anything else, not in the interest of the elite, not in the interest of foreigners, not not in the interest of this group or that or that elite group, but in the interest of the people, the ordinary people, the farmers, the factory workers, the people who live by their sweat. That's what we call the mass line. The mass line. You can call it the line of the people's interests. Now, when we came into government, when we were in the bush, the mass line was the only line. We only did what was important for the people and nothing else. However, when we took over government, we had to work with other people.
Very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us at this lovely Sunday afternoon. Maybe not so lovely for some citizens in Uganda there after that fraudulent election took place. And now, of course, President Museveni has been declared the winner, and he'll be serving his 6th term. This is Africa Showdown. My name is Miriam Mugut, and we're coming to you all the way from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi. And on the other side of the political command center, we have Dr. David Matsanga. Doctor, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Miriam. Thank you very much. Wherever you are in the world watching us, this is Punchline Africa Television, the only television in Pan-African television that values Africa, that talks about Africa, what ails Africa, what destroys Africa, the only television that commands respect when it comes to predictions. We have predicted very well, we have delivered Gambia, we have brought Cameroon to come into close. We have predicted South Sudan. We have now predicted Tanzania. We predicted Malawi. This is the station to watch. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. This is Africa Showdown from the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa in London. Thank you.
All right, Birol, thank you so much, Doctor, and nice to have you on the show today. And we also have Douglas Kirimi all the way from central part of Kenya in Meru County, but in particular. Douglas Kirimi, a very good afternoon to you. All right.
Douglas.
So, as we wait for Douglas to join us, we also have Daniel Wesonga from Kenya CBD. Daniel, good afternoon.
Yes, a very, very good afternoon, Miriam Ogutu at our headquarters in Nairobi. A very good afternoon, Dr. David Matsanga at our Political Command Center and Douglas Kirimi Bundi in Meru, our viewers in Kenya, Africa, and the rest of the world.
All right, very well. So before Doctor comes in and starts us off on the show, Uganda's main opposition presidential candidate Bobi Wine says his life is being threatened following Thursday's election, which saw Yoweri Museveni win a 6th elected term. The singer turned politician told the BBC that he rejects the results with the contempt they deserve. He alleged there had been a lot of irregularities, but Mr. Museveni called Uganda's fairest ever vote. Campaigning had been marred by violence in which dozens of people died. Just ahead of the voting day, the government shut down the internet, a move condemned by election monitors. And Museveni said, while speaking to the country yesterday, the video that we just watched before we started, they said, this is the most cheating-free election in the country's history. Doctor, start us off.
First of all, before we start off, I think it will be courteous for us to look at the Kenyan newspapers. And we see briefly 15 minutes, because this is going to be a very interesting topic where facts are going to be laid out. So let's look at the Kenyan newspapers, the headlines, the Standard Nation, the Standard, and the East African if you have. But the Standard newspaper says a headline, politics of survival by few opportunists who shift from one place to the other towards election time. And on top of the Standard newspaper of Kenya, those who are watching us from very far across the bridge in Uganda, since you don't have internet, wherever you are managing to transmit the Raila allies message to President Kenyatta. I warned on this, and I'm always very candid. I told people that don't turn BBI into a political process. Let BBI be a healing process. Did you hear me, Miriam? Did you hear me, Krimi? Did you hear me, Wesonga? I told you. I have done conflict. I've done conflict resolution. I know what a redemption strategy is. What is killing Museveni across the bridge? That every time he comes on TV, yapping, you know, opening his mouth every time, talking about violence, instructing people as if he wants to kill them. He lacks a redemption strategy. He doesn't want anything solved by being quiet, by calling these people. But we shall look at that. Here we are. Raila allies are saying there is a problem. And handshake seem not to be handshaking family. They tell President Uhuru Kenyatta to sack his deputy because the deputy is causing, and that's what he did. His intention is, he wants the people to, the government not to work. Time has come for His Excellency and other people to come in to help, because you cannot be in the same government and you continue to dismember the projects of the same government. You continue to blacklist the president, blackmail him, Stockholm taking syndrome, you Stockholm him, you use hostage politics. It is not worth it. It is better we call it quits. The center cannot hold anymore. The center cannot hold anymore in Kenya between the president and the deputy. There is no need of being, you know, that you are respectful of what. Ruto is another duplicate of Mr. Museveni. They do business together, and they will also, there is happy, very happy that his friend across the bridge with cows similar to his that he has hipped in the ranch in Taveta, he has passed. So if you keep him longer here in government, for him to go ahead using government resources, motorcade, soldiers to campaign, leave him to campaign freely. Let him own a motto, to campaign freely. That is it. But it looks like we are giving, you have given this man a window of dismantling the government. He's poaching the government, poaching North, destroying the government, taking out people from the government, even to the extent of, you know, ridiculing the president directly, telling him that you don't have authority anymore. He has belittled the president, and the people are watching. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, across, I have more problems on my plate, but I will not give up on my brother and my friend.
Yes.
I will always support, I will always give. All right. Because in 2007, Miriam, you remember, nobody wanted to know these boys. These two younger people. Nobody wanted to know them. It is this mouth again that came to know them. And I'm happy. Those who don't know, who can insult me, go ahead. In fact, go ahead. Go ahead. But my time is coming. My time is not very far. It is coming. What God keeps for you does not decay. If you have determined that you will fall in the river Nile, even when you have a new car which is armored, the tire will burst. near the River Nile Bridge, and then you go in the river. God has so many ways of determining the destiny of humanity. So one day, our people will be liberated. Our people will be free. We thank Chinchil for having gone to downgrade the data. We know the house that you are using in Kampala, but thank you very much. The same could be done when you come across here. So there is no problem. The only thing I want to tell Kenyans is that the Fenoni Fancy Fiore, if you are not careful, if you watch what Ruto says, he could be Fanoni Fancy or Franzi Fanon. He could also deploy violence to intimidate people that if you don't vote me, I'm going to uproot everybody in the Rift Valley. Over to you, Miriam.
All right, Doctor, and the story you're referring to is on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. Take action on dissenters in Jubilee. Orengo urges President Uhuru Kenyatta has been challenged to crack the whip on dissenters within his Jubilee administration. Senator James Orengo told President to stop tolerating dissidents in his administration, even as in the opposition find it difficult to deal with a divided house in Jubilee. And this is the reason we beseech the President to take charge and put his house in order, Orengo said yesterday. And the Senator said ODM members were loyal to the government of the day, but if some people don't want the cooperation between the opposition and the ruling coalition to thrive, then they better retrace the history of a bickering opposition and its ripple effect on the economy and democracy. And also, just beside that, another headline show us what you've done. Raila tells Ruto. ODM leader Raila Odinga has challenged Deputy President William Ruto to demonstrate his track record while serving in government. Raila slammed Ruto, saying he made many promises to Kenyans in 2013 and 2017 election campaigns, yet many of those pledges have not been implemented. The opposition leader, who has held a flurry of meetings to popularize the Building Bridges initiative in the past week, was speaking at Fungamano House in Nairobi. So what Raila there is saying is stop telling us what you want to do when you become president of 2022. For now, can you tell us your part in the Jubilee government and what you've contributed in bettering the lives of Kenyans? Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam, and good afternoon to Dr. David Matsanga from the Political Command Center in London, and also good afternoon to my friend Sean Wesonga in Nairobi, and also to our viewers across the world. Thank you, Miriam. One thing I need to do this afternoon is to send a very short 2-minute letter to Deputy President William Ruto. Dear Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, you have been moving around the country, destroying the name and also the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. But when the political terrain becomes hostile to you, Deputy President William Ruto, you mention how President Kenyatta has helped you together in your administration with President Uhuru Kenyatta. You have built TTI, you have built hospitals, you have built roads and everything. Deputy President William Ruto, today being a Sunday, it is the high time you stop being an hypocrite. And also, you have also before mopped into an hybrid political conman who has been conning Kenyans emotionally and also talking to Kenyans in a manner that suggests the President of the Republic of Kenya sleeps in Nairobi and you are the one that is working. But when you come to the backyard of President Uhuru Kenyatta, where he has support across the country, you mention how President Kenyatta has helped you, and also in this administration, you have been able to deliver a lot of projects. Remember, Deputy President, yesterday you mentioned President Uhuru Kenyatta more than 11 times. How can you mention a man that you don't want to be associated with? It is the high time you drop the name of President Uhuru Kenyatta, drop his administration, resign from government, and also face your demons and also face your electorate and also ask them for votes, because you cannot keep riding on the back of President Uhuru Kenyatta, whereas your people and also your allies have been accusing President Uhuru Kenyatta of abandoning the deputy and also betraying him. Deputy President William Ruto, this afternoon, my letter goes to you because everyone is writing letters to their readers and also people that have been tempted to have arrested the track, especially in the political terrain of our country. President Uhuru Kenyatta is an elder statesman and is also the President of the Republic of Kenya. You should respect the president, respect his legacy, mention the rules that President Uhuru Kenyatta has built, mention the ports, mention everything. Don't keep lying to the people of Kenya that the president of the Republic of Kenya has done nothing. And Deputy President William Ruto, it's the high time you left government if you don't believe in this government. You cannot continue using this government selectively for your own political agenda. And at this point, as Kenyans of goodwill, we should be enjoyed in a case that shall be removing you, whether through the parliament, whether
all right.
through private.
Okay, we seem to be having a bit of a signal problem there from Douglas, and we apologize for that. Once that is sorted, and Douglas will come and complete his thought process there. Daniel, what Raila is saying, you cannot keep telling us what Jubilee government has not achieved, because it appears that is what we see happening so much. And sometimes you could be mistaken not to think this is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, or this is a person outside of the government, when in essence, he is part of the presidency. And what I've always had a problem with, he talks the way I should be talking. He's questioning his own government the way I should be questioning the government. What I need to hear from the Deputy President as a Kenyan is, what is the Jubilee government doing? All right, but all the time he comes in public, he's very quick to criticize the same government that he's part of the leadership. His, the same government that he's serving, in this Republic of Kenya. And so Raila is telling him, you know what? Can you tell us what you've done as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya to better the lives of Kenyans, since you have the privilege of being the Deputy Governor or the Deputy President? Daniel.
Yes, Miriam, one thing we have to come to Congress about is that William Ruto has been a man who has been known to speak with the two sides of his mouth. He's a turncoat in that essence. And when you see, whenever he goes to central Kenya, and we have lucrative government projects which has been launched and been implemented by the president, you'll hear him talking about what the Jubilee government, together with his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, have done to the people of central Kenya, Mount Kenya. And for a fact, Miriam, it is very unfortunate that the Deputy President, who solely bases on the support of President Uhuru Kenyatta in matters that leaders from Kenya are the ones who form the pillars of support for his new outfit, the UDA, to go around the country insulting the same president, whereas he uses his own projects to rally his support and uses his own lieutenants to be able to garner support for his agenda. Number two, Miriam, the Deputy President should not be speaking as if he's a stranger in government, because one, he earns the salary for being the Deputy President and holding that particular office. Number two, he has never shown any willingness, Miriam, to either step down, and that is something that we should continue pushing for. And even when Orengo comes out to say that those are the people who should get out of government, it is very true, because we've seen from the record, Miriam, Nandi Senator coming out clearly saying that they are going to sabotage the Big Four agenda. They are going to make sure that before they leave the Jubilee Party, they are going to make sure that the party is no more, and that is what he has been telling his lieutenants. And he cannot actually run away from that, because these people have been speaking in the same events as where he has been attending, and he has never come out clearly to reprimand them. He has never come out clearly to tell them that we should stop politicking, we should now focus on service delivery. And this was the point of departure where they disagreed with the president, because on one side, Miriam, of the divide, the president was much concerned about delivering on his second term promises, that is the Big Four agenda, and ensuring that he leaves a legacy behind. And that is what every leader should look at, the legacy of the president. Remember, this is the last time that the President Uhuru Kenyatta is in office, but the Deputy President has been very consistent. In fact, so many people think that the Deputy President started campaigning immediately after the 2017 election. No, we do have clips, Miriam, where the Deputy President in 2013, even before President Uhuru Kenyatta could begin his term, the Deputy President was already eyeing the presidency in 2022. And that is why the likes of Murkomen will be seen talking about Jubilee leadings from 2013 to 2032. So that tells you that this is a man who had his eyes fixed on his ascendance to presidency, not because he has an agenda to push, but because he believed that was his birthright, and it was a must that the president supports him. And when they got into office, his entire focus was on being the president of the Republic of Kenya. And I remember in the recent past, there is a leader who asked a rhetorical question that if you see someone so much determined to occupy the house on the hill, that is the State House, then you should have doubts about his intention of getting into that house. And therefore, Miriam, I think the deputy president has never been a straight politician. He has never spoken about something that he's so much sure of. History has come out to paint him as a leader who is very hypocritical, a leader whose tongue is very quick to peddle lies and propaganda, and that's what he is. Look at the Jubilee Manifesto, the things he promised that the government will do. These are not the things that the president promised, Miriam, to the people of Kenya, but the deputy president who will move around the country promising very things that are of utopic description. So to me, Miriam, I think the deputy president, what he could do right now is to step down, focus on his 2022 agenda and leave the president. Since the president is committed in finishing his agenda, leave the president to accomplish his legacy and be able to leave a better Kenya. And maybe just to add a rejoinder, Miriam, those who are politicking, they should be very keen to pass through Waiyaki Way, Mombasa Road, and the rest of the pathway that the Nairobi Expressway is being built on. The progress is being done in a very, very steady and very, very fast and efficient way, Miriam. And that tells you that no matter the political temperatures that are being set by the deputy president and his allies, the government of President Uhuru Kenyatta is so much determined to ensure that Kenya is on a progressive path and we are never derailed by the petty and retrogressive politics of the day.
Right.
That is my input, Miriam.
All right, very well. Thank you so much. And we're also joined this afternoon by Kidi Mwaga. Kidi, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Miriam, and good morning, good afternoon to our viewers in East Africa and around the world. Yes, it's a beautiful feeling always to show up on Punchline and to ensure that we make our country and continent better. Thank you.
All right. So before I hand over back to Doctor, we were looking at the news making headlines in Kenya this afternoon, and the opposition there is telling President Uhuru Kenyatta there are people who are undermining even the essence of the handshake, and they're working to derail even your agenda. And from what Daniel was telling us there, a section of the member of parliament allied to Deputy President William Ruto have come out and said they have only one agenda from what we've been seeing happening, and that is to sabotage President Uhuru Kenyatta's agenda. I mean, that will not be very good, because this agenda is meant to benefit us as Kenyans. That is selfish even, don't you think? Because this has nothing to do with President Uhuru Kenyatta at the end of the day. It has everything to do with changing our lives as Kenyans.
There are three things Buddha observed that can never be hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The truth is that William Ruto's politics has been predicated on demagoguery, and William Ruto is the biggest demagogue of our time. And as much as he was hiding behind a lot of things, finally the truth has come out that he never had the interest of the nation at heart, the interest of the ordinary mwananchi at heart. What mattered to him was pure politics and acquisition of power for the sake of the power's sake. For instance, when you come out to say that your core mandate is to frustrate the president, while at that point in time, the president is struggling to make sure that ordinary Mama Mboga is able to have a meal because...
Go ahead. Okay, so we seem... Yeah.
Hello? Are you getting me there?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm saying a lot of businesses have been disrupted, and therefore there is economic meltdown the world over. So that anyone coming out to sabotage his own government, the government that serves the people, is someone who does not deserve to live amongst us. That is a beast. And William Ruto has come out to demonstrate that himself and people around him have got no conscience at all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Doctor. Back to you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nairobi. Thank you very much, Miriam, in the general headquarters. The situation of Kenya, any observer would agree with me that the best thing that happened to Kenya was the handshake. The best thing that ever happened since 1963 or 1963, yes, is handshake between Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta. This handshake is to progress unity of purpose. Unity of purpose, a leader who values his country, a leader who has patriotism, a leader who respects other tribes, a leader who does not bring Stockholm syndrome of taking other tribes hostage because they live in his area, because they live amongst perceived territory. That is what we should be thinking about. And that's what President Uhuru Kenyatta is thinking about. And Miriam, believe me or not, we shall tackle this subject tomorrow in the People's Courts, when we shall look at why is the handshake shaking? Who is breaking the fingers on the handshake? The answer is William Ruto. If people don't see, I've seen it already. I've been in this political world longer than William Ruto. I'm older than William Ruto by at least 15 years ahead. Therefore, if it means suffering with jiggers, I suffered with jiggers much earlier than he did. Yes. Yeah. Rika yangu ndio wale Museveni. Sababu tulipigana nao bunduki. Ndio rika yangu. Hii rika ya juzi. Natembea navaa mavazi ya Itaki na nini, si rika yangu. I'm not saying any Turkey shirts are not very good, but they are. But when you wear them to entice younger girls and calicos, it becomes very funny. But that aside, we haven't started yet. We have not started yet. And we shall defend Uhuru Kenyatta. We are not defending him because he tells us to do so. And Mr. President, don't tell us to do so, because we have not asked for a job to do so. We are doing it voluntarily because we see the mismatch, the belittlement you go through every day in the hands of a corrupt mafia person who has corrupted, stolen money from the same agencies, banked it across in Uganda banks, uses it to come to destabilize this country. Ukweli tupu, yuambiwe. Sasa tuko na data mingi sana Mr. Ruto. Tena enda pole pole. Kwa hii mambo ya Uganda enda pole pole. Tunakujua whom you support. Don't pretend you support anybody. We know whom you support. Kwa hivyo, your Waterloo is your friendship with the guy who has actually muzzled everybody. And don't hide. We know you are not talking, but you gave a helicopter to ferry maybe stolen ballot papers. So that's very good. We Ugandans are not going to keep quiet, mzee. Sisi na wewe mtu kwa mundu. Match one leg by one leg. Lazima tukutane. Tuta expose tena, tuko na mingi zaidi. Tuko na mambo mengi zaidi juu yako. Kwa hivyo wache kampeni hizi zianze. By the way, why is he not giving money anymore in the churches? What has happened to the money, Mr. my Miriam? He no longer carries big envelopes, big khaki. What happened to this money? But can
I weigh in on that, sir?
Yeah, weigh in.
Thank you very much. Part of why William Ruto is no longer distributing money in churches is because of the simple reason. when the president let Rotich head Treasury, we remember Patrick Njoroge, the CBK governor, telling us that the former Treasury CS was preparing budgetary estimates using abracadabra. And they used to consistently ignore the monetary advice, fiscal and monetary advice coming from central bank. So that in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, all the way to 2018, every time we were preparing our national budget, Rotich was ensuring that there were budget lines that were slotted in that were expressly going into corruption, and therefore monies that were slotted for such projects would be carried in sacks and taken to Karen for William Ruto. That is why today the government is broke, but you can still see William Ruto running around the country fueling choppers, because some of that money is still around the circles of William Ruto. But you see, when the government brought in the new currency directive, the government managed to decapitate him by at least half, and a huge chunk of his loot was therefore rendered useless. So that today he cannot afford to give money in churches, but still he has some small money to run around.
Thank you very much. And there is more for me from my side, but not for today. There is more. There is more. And I don't know. I don't know. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I don't know. I really don't know, sir. But if I were you, huyu mtu hawezi kukua na wewe kwa. I think you have a different heart. You are a president with a very good heart. If you look at Murkomen shouting his teeth out, Murkomen had his helicopter, the sky team with your senator from Tharaka Nithi. They used to fly around collecting money. And all the people, apparently, let me ask one question to you Kenyans. At least for us in our country, our corruption is centralized. In Uganda, if you want to have money alone, you have to marry somebody near 7 years and have family or the tribe. That's why everybody in Kenya is going there to marry. Have you seen any? Very few Kenyans live here to marry, and I am sure that Mr. Karimi and Akidi are soon going there, but they will go to the western part. You know, there is that thing, perception. If you marry anybody from the generals, those who went to the bush, whatever they end up bushini, you will get everything you want. The road block, they will open, you go. Bushini. Because for us who have married zero, my wife comes from Buganda, actually from the kingdom.
So she's
around there, related. That's why we voted. That's why we voted in my constituency. I'm very proud. Yes, very proud man. And I talk with authority. Because in the essence of all this, Chagulani should give my brother, the leader of opposition. Yes, John Baptiste Nambeche must be the leader of opposition. Because he's the only man outside Uganda who has brought a constituency of National Unity Party. To honor my mom, to honor the grave of my father, Chagulani, and the members of parliament of opposition, give my brother Nambeshi that slot as a leader of opposition. I'm being honest. What will you do? You Museveni try touch him. You haven't seen the general himself. Yes, 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 yes. We have suffered We have delivered. We don't waffle. We don't tell lies. We are the only constituency outside Buganda that delivered Chagulanyi's vote. We never lied. That's the respect some of us carry. Because Museveni lost elections in 1981 when he was even in Uganda. He lost. But you can imagine a man 10,000 miles away in London winning a slot. Isn't that powerful? What about himself when he comes? Yes, because this time it's not this one category from Dar es Salaam University threatening people. There are people who have experience, internationally exposed. And that is exactly what I'm trying to say. Miriam, you Kenyans have a very big stake with this new man, this man trying to break the handshake. But across the bridge, despite all these difficulties, I am praying. I want to bring the people to a wider dialogue. And that is why we come to the next topic.
Doctor, before we come to the next topic, the Sunday Nation headlines there, perhaps not very good here. Trump puts Africans on a night flight to Nairobi and removal flight carrying Somalians, Ethiopians and Kenyan deportees left Louisiana on Thursday, bound to Nairobi. So that is what is happening, and that is in the front pages there of the Sunday Nation. So I guess this affects a lot of our sons and daughters from the continent. I mean, he only has 2 days, and so that nightmare will be over. So now perhaps we jump into our topic of today, and that is which way Africa on elections and democracy.
Yes. Thank you very much, viewers. Today we chose to discuss elections in Africa and democracy. It is a very innovative, emotional topic. We shall discuss this with reference with 3 to 4 countries that have conducted elections that have ended up in tears instead of joy. I'll discuss, or with the panel will discuss, the elections in Uganda. How come that the announcement of 58.4%, but there was no jubilation? People were muted, people continued to do their work, television stations went back to their normal programs because the people were not happy. There is one thing that is rising in the Uganda elections, and I want to teach my students who watch, who listen, who take notes, the rise of Buganda nationalism. I want you people on the panel to look at the rise of Uganda or Buganda nationalism. The entire Buganda region, geopolitical region of Uganda, voted with Bob Wine. Plus I'm also one of the subjects, because Kakungulu, Semei Kakungulu, left Buganda to come and be our regent, colonizer, and taught us how to behave and speak Luganda. We speak Luganda in my part of the country where I was born. I want to thank the people there who listened carefully. I also want to thank the people in entire Mbale district for giving 47% of their vote to Chagulanyi. Because the mistreatment some of us have got. I want to thank the entire country of Uganda, both the voters of Museveni and the voters of Kyagulanyi. As a veteran politician, a critic, an activist, a political critic of President Museveni from 1981, I am not going to speak like a child. I want to speak like a mature politician, a scholar who has studied political science, who teaches political science, who knows the theories of political science, who can dissect conflicts, solve conflicts, anywhere on planet Earth where you drop me. I want to speak from the bottom of my heart. This morning I wrote 18 points, which I believe the panel has looked at. 18 facts. They are on my page. How do we get Uganda? Which way? And I'm going to be candid. If you hate me, hate me. What will you do? The only thing to do is to kill me. Maybe. But I will speak my mind. President Museveni, you are a leader now. You have been handed over this by your electoral commission. I will not go to the merits or demerits. The merits are known, that this election was not well handled. Kyagulanyi and other opposition papers, leaders, we have helped to put up, people have put up position documents to go to the Supreme Court to seek that civil route. Point number 2, I'm calling upon Ugandans not to take the law in their hands. Whichever side you are, I'm a peacemaker. When President Museveni refused to talk to Konyi for so many years, he wanted to kill him, yet he could not find him. Some of us sacrificed our lives, stood up Rugunda, with Rwakana Rugunda, and other people, Riek Machar, Salva Kiir, President Kibaki, President Bashir, Kabila, and others. We said, let's hammer an agreement and Uganda becomes peaceful. I did so. I have a history of resolving issues, complex issues. This issue of Uganda needs wider discussion. There is no need of Uganda
All right, we apologize for that signal problem there from the political command center there, where Dr. Matsanga was laying out the case on which we are African elections and democracy, and he was indulging us in a little bit of some history of the background story on politics and the dynamics of the Ugandan politics there. And so we've suffered a bit of a technical hitch, but once he's back, he shall continue with that. But in the meantime, I'll be reading on page 4 of the Sunday Nation, and it says the Ugandan Electoral Commission yesterday declared Yoweri Tibuhaburwa Kaguta Museveni as the new president of the country for the 6th successive elective term. Mr. Museveni, according to the Electoral Commission chairman Simon Bakama, garnered about 5,851,037 votes, presenting 58.64%, while his leading challenger Robert Kyagulanyi, alias Bobi Wine, polled about 3,474,000. 298 votes, representing 34.83%. And so I declare candidate Yoweri Museveni the next president of the Republic of Uganda, having obtained the highest number of votes in the election held on January 14th, 2021. And something there that Doctor has mentioned, even with that win that supposed President Museveni has gotten there, there was not so much. There was a bit of jubilation, but people went about their business, I think, today. And so why is it that there's not that so much celebration there in Uganda, Douglas?
Thank you, Miriam, and thank you for that question. Museveni has stolen that vote, and I believe the people of Uganda are tired with him, and there's nothing to celebrate. The old man has refused to go home. I think now we shall use the people of Uganda and also the people of goodwill, like myself in the world, shall use extra constitutional methods to remove him from power. If the courts fail now, Museveni has to be forced out of power, because he continues to rule Uganda with an iron fist, and Ugandans are themselves not celebrating the way we see around the world when a presidential candidate wins. This is very different in Uganda. The people fear to be killed, people fear to be blackmailed and all that. So I have nothing to say on Museveni. The old man has refused to go home.
All right, and while talking yesterday, I think the victory speech that he gave yesterday in the evening there, one of the key things President Museveni, and I think we played a bit of the clip as we started the show, and he said, this election is the most cheating-free election in the country's history. And he went ahead to say that the biggest problem that Uganda has been having is chronic problem of cheating on elections. And I'm thinking, you have been the one who's been winning all this time. So what are you telling us, and why should we believe what you're saying right now, Daniel?
Miriam, and yesterday I remember talking to a friend and telling him I've been watching closely those briefs that have been given out by the Electoral Commission of Uganda. And one thing that came out clearly, Miriam, that this is something which was done under the dark cover of darkness. There was a little, if not rudimentary, transparency in how the election was conducted. And Dr. Matsanga has been very, very categorical on this since mid last year, 2020, telling us that there is no way a country like Uganda, a third world country which is still grappling with the foreign aid and the debts, could conduct a scientific election when America, the mother of democracy, a country which is advanced technologically and also in structures of democracy, would not conduct a scientific election, but a third world country in Africa, which previously had been running coup d'etats and civil war, could go into a scientific election. So that by itself, Miriam, rendered that process not to be free, fair, and credible. Number two, when you listen to how President Yoweri Museveni talked before the election happened, the address that he gave the nation, you will tell of someone who has an authority over the Electoral Commission, because as a president candidate, we didn't expect him to spell out punitive measures for those who are found culpable of rigging the election. That is the job of the Electoral Commission, Miriam. And also, for him now afterwards come out and tell Ugandans that this was the most free and fair election that they are ever conducted in the recent past, that shows you the amount of fraud that was in that election, because also that is the work of the Electoral Commission, to really portray to Ugandans, and Ugandans, for God's sake, do not need to be told how free and fair the election was. This is something that can be seen by all and sundry. So to me, I think these are cover-up tactics. We all know, the world knows that this was a very, very fraudulent election which happened amidst the pandemic, and the results can never be deemed as credible. And that's why today, as we speak, the home of the key contender of President Museveni, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, is under siege by the military and the special response police, who are surrounding it and keeping him under house arrest. So that tells you that they know what they did. The elections were not free and fair, and therefore they are very afraid of the reaction that will have emanated from the Ugandans. And as they say, Miriam, the guilty are always afraid. And that is what Museveni is portraying to the world.
All right,
I rest my case.
Thank you so much. Our president coming out and saying this election is the most cheating-free election, and admitting that in the history of Uganda's independence, post-independence period, Uganda has suffered a problem of chronic cheatings in elections, and yet he has been the beneficiary of this all along. That is difficult to comprehend, Kidi. Kidi, are you there?
Miriam, kindly repeat the question so that I get you clearly. My background is not very pleasant. Kindly.
Okay, I'm saying President Yoweri Museveni, well, yesterday having his a speech addressing the nation after he was declared the winner, he said this election that just concluded is one of the most cheating-free elections in the country, and he went ahead to say that in Uganda's history, the biggest problem they've been having in the elections is the chronic problem of cheating, and yet he has been the beneficiary in all these dubious elections. If he says that has been the chronic problems, that means these elections were not okay. And yet he wants us to believe that what happened on Thursday was free and fair.
Well, Miriam, one thing that stands out in these elections is that this is one of the most tricked elections, because for the first time to Museveni's chagrin, he has realized that he has lost the popular support of the ordinary people on the streets. Because even, for instance, for him to accept to give the Electoral Commission that is under his control, to give Sentamu up to 35% of the vote is in itself an admission that Sentamu got so much votes or so much percentage of the popular vote. Away from that, you realize that the day after elections, there was a complete, total blackout in Uganda.
There still is.
The electricity was shut off. Mm-hmm. Sorry?
Fine. I think the electricity is there. We're not sure, but there's still internet and the social media. There's still a blackout on that.
No, I'm speaking about the night after the elections.
Okay.
And therefore, when the whole country was plunged into darkness, in those 12 hours, with the Electoral Commission at his beck and call, and the security apparatus at his beck and call, it means that he had so much time to engage in so much mischief, and therefore him saying that this is the election that had least irregularity, is an insult to the intellect of the people of Uganda. Mm-hmm. Because we all know that technology is controlled by human beings. So it is the human resource behind that technological infrastructure that, of course, means that tempered with the results in those 12 hours between sunset and sunrise. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Before you come in, this is what Dr. Kiza Besigye said. He said that the reality is Mr. Museveni is just a nominated candidate like John Katumba or Nancy Kalemba, but he simply cannot humble himself to become a candidate. He is the Electoral Commission and everything. That is what he told the NTV Uganda. And when you heard him making the announcement yesterday, well, I'm even calling it an announcement. Well, he was talking as the State of the Nation address yesterday. He looked like he had taken over the position of the Electoral Commission, their chair, when he was making a detailed announcement about the elections, which I don't think was his place to do that, Doctor.
First of all, Miriam.
Yes.
I want to take this opportunity to tell you that Besigye's sentiments. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Besigye's sentiments are the same as most of us. Mm-hmm. This is a nominated man by Byamukama. But before I was disrupted by Museveni's agents who must have looked at my line, I want to make this categorically clear. I was making a very serious point.
Yes, you are.
That this is the time for Ugandans to think of our nation. Let's not start a fight. Let's exhaust all the political, civil channels, judiciary. Let the Supreme Court say that they did not see the beatings of people on the streets. Let the judges sit in that Supreme Court, say that what happened, they didn't see. Then after that, we shall go further to engage. But meanwhile, I was saying President Museveni is an elder. He's 76 years old because he doesn't even know his date of birth. He might be even older than he is. You know, he told the whole world that his father was producing him while he was there was these locusts or what, something like that. So at least for us, some of us who came from very good homes that had documents, poor homes but with documents, we know our date of birth. So the whole thing is let him also now start engaging these younger men. He should not allow them, he should not harass them, he should not imprison them, he should not put them under house arrest, he should not beat them, brutalize them. No, Mr. President, that's a mistake. You are making a mistake of causing more chaos. There is a wind that is growing. The whole region surrounding Kampala city did not like you. They voted differently. So you should sit down and engage. People like Rwakana Rugunda, I'm very happy that he has listened. We have called him and I've told him, peace is very important for this country. I remember when I was trying to do peace talks, Museveni did not want, he even asked us, why are you wasting time to go and look for coin? We are going to kill him. We shall just kill him. And the people said, please, if you have not killed him for 22 years, how will you kill him today? Is there a miracle God has told you where he is? Let's talk to this guy. Until some of us went to talk to Konyi. Konyi accepted peace talks. Here we are. Northern Uganda gave him overwhelming support. Although the figures there, people stormed the polling stations to say the figures that they were reading in Kampala were different from the figures they got on the ground. That is going to come out in a petition. Point number 2, and Miriam, don't fear to say this. And I want to say it to Besigye today. I want to say it to the Chagulanyi today. I want to say it to Mugisha Muntu. I want to say it to Mukunda. I want to say it to all Amriat, all the opposition leaders in Uganda. And let them hear me. Let them hear this call. They make Ugandans more sick when they are not united. I am fed up. And I want to tell them today, unless some of you work with Museveni again at night, I don't know why you don't unite to form one special unit, one opposition alliance, call it anywhere. Nobody Mao, always speaking good English, but producing zero. And they want to go it alone. This thing of ego, the ego of going alone, jameni, watu yangu. The people of opposition in Uganda, listen to me. All of you opposing Museveni today, none of you is older than me in politics of Uganda. All of you have tried to work with him or have praised him for once. I have never praised him. I only praise him on security. And this time, let's learn a lesson from these elections. Yes, I'm not disputing the fact it was rigged, because Museveni himself accepted that it was the first time. So it means he has been rigging. How many of them has he held? He has been also rigging. So this one was rigging free. That is up to the people to interpret in Kampala. My only thing that I'm trying to plead with is the opposition to unite. Miriam, if you add the figures of opposition, add them. And a good mathematician like a Kirimi should be adding the opposition percentage and add it on Chagulanyi's. We could have made like a 44%. 44%. If we were united, Ugandans would have given the vote to a united opposition. But everybody went out individually. You can't unite Ugandans to be in an alliance. It's impossible. One of the things that I credit Raila Amolo Odinga in Kenya is he always unites opposition when election is approaching. He calls out for them. He calls them out to come. Ugandans from Besigye, from Gishamuntu, from Chagulanyi, from Tumukunde, from all the people who took part or who intended to take part. If you want to dislodge the President Museveni, let's start uniting ourselves in an alliance. Let's forget our political differences, our ego. Because, Miriam, I tell you what, when some of us in 1986 were fighting Museveni, some people were busy with him. So, some of the people, voters in Uganda, say, but you are telling us, but you are the same man who used to be with him. That thing sticks. There is no leader this is the first leader who has come, who has never worked in President Museveni's government. That's why you see he swept the hearts of very many people, was Chagulanyi. The rest of these guys, they have been praising the president before. So that one is a factor. Factor number two, the elections in Uganda, there was voter apathy. 10 million out of 19 million or 18 million. Where did the 80 million go to? Are they the 80 million that were the Buganda registered voters? Because during the registration, Buganda had 8 registered voters, over 8.6. The whole of that region. Are they the ones? Were they intimidated? Were they harassed? Were they told not to come out to vote? Those are the questions the courts will look for. Where did the Ugandan voters disappear to? They arrived, they were 18 million, and this guy, carelessly and casually, President Museveni is the winner, therefore, for God and my country, wearing this thing, and walked out. Handed over, nominated. I agree with the basic. He nominated and handed over. The boss nominated him. He had to nominate back. So, that is another point. The voter apathy. Are Ugandans educated to vote? And therefore it brings my question. Does Africa need elections? Do we need to chart a different way of elections in Africa? Do we need to continue to say every 5 years we shall have elections? Can we find another way of selecting our leaders like the Vatican selects the Pope? Why don't we select our president like the Vatican we wait for him to God to call him, then we get a white smoke. Yes, there is no need of spoiling people's money.
But in Africa, we are deeply divided under our ethnical lines, and that is already very unhealthy. So should we come to selecting our leaders like that? That will be a disadvantage to some communities, I believe.
No, I mean, when you are electing the Pope, there is nobody who has read the Bible better or less. All of you bishops, archbishops, go in one place where there's white smoke comes on one. And all of us accept. The Catholic Church is built on that basis. Mm-hmm. It's indeed the best way now in Africa, for not only Uganda, the best way in Africa to elect. Because everywhere in Africa, look at the election of this country called Tanzania. Most of the opposition leaders have fled. They are in Canada, Germany, London. There is nobody in his house. There's nobody. After they voted, the machinery came back in our Tafuta. The few who have remained there have what we call thick skin. So do we need elections in Africa? Africans' time has come. This 5-year election cycle was brought by who? To do what? What does it achieve? Does it achieve good results on the continent? If so, show me the results that the elections in Africa produce, other than taking the money from the taxpayer and then later on producing dead bodies. Mm-hmm. China, America. America today is surviving today as we talk, not because of democracy. It's surviving because of the military. If the Pentagon was not there, Trump would have already climbed that hole and taken over the Capitol Hill and declared himself the terrorist #1. And these are facts, Miriam. Mm-hmm. Let's not beat about the bush. These factors are affecting people. 3, international observers. These stupid people or observers, look at the East African Community observer, the former president of Burundi. Either he doesn't even know English. His English was very complicated. He could have spoken French. Then we have an interpreter. He said elections were free and fair. Which elections?
No, he said the most cheating free election.
It was free and fair. Instead of saying the voting, I have been to 14 countries worldwide. Kirimi, Professor Onyari, welcome. I have been to 14 countries worldwide, including East Timor. I was an observer in East Timor. I don't think very many people in the world know where East Timor is. It is in Indonesia, Pacific Ocean. To observe elections. But you don't observe elections on a voting day. You observe elections from the campaigns, then you make a report. But you don't just come because people have woken up to vote. And this time, the soldiers hid in the banana plantations and blocked all the routes leading to the voting polling stations. The man poured over 1 million soldiers in Kampala. Mm-hmm. All of them. If you go there now, for every civilian, 100 civilian, there are about 200 soldiers working in that horrible Uganda area. So, how will you pass to go and vote? Mm-hmm. You are trying to pass, they say, hey, Rudi Nyumbani, go home. Mm-hmm. So when an observer comes up, like this man of European Union, who was drinking a whiskey and a brandy, and maybe he was given a lady a calico from Uganda. You know, the government has a lot of ways of enticing wazungu. Wanakupatia katoko, kadogo, small girl. This muzungu of European Union woke up and said everything was very good on one day. When you are observing elections, monitoring elections, you start with the day, first the printing of ballot papers, two, the distribution of ballot papers, the campaigns. All of you know the campaigns of the elections of Uganda were mad with violence, tear gas, intimidation, arrests. So, tell me,
Killings.
The last point I want to make, before I sit and watch the panel to hammer it, is wider dialogue, redemption strategy. Mr. President, is there a way you can think of a redemption healing this country? Instead of going chasing these younger men, putting them under house arrest, torturing them, arresting them, talk to them, have a wider dialogue, seek dialogue, sit down with political parties, have a handshake. The Raila Odinga Uhuru Kenyatta handshake. If you don't want to go the Bishop Vatican way of the Pope, then let's go for handshake. But as long as this guy is still there, walaya Mungu, he will steal the vote again. So the only way to do is, as Ugandans, don't be violent. Don't pick up sticks. Don't break people's shops. Don't burn shops. Don't burn buildings. Don't burn cars. Let's go to court. Let the court give us a verdict. Then there is another step that I don't want to discuss.
Doctor, the last time the elections.
Be peaceful. Miriam, I submit that there is no need of elections in Africa. I submit.
All right.
All African countries, whether it's South Africa or wherever, think of another way of electing or finding your leaders. And I want to back up my theory by referring you to the Plateau Republic. Those who have studied political science will agree with me that the Plateau Republic has never said that there will be elections every 4 years. Those who have studied political science will agree with me that the Plateau Republic never told you that go and have elections every 5 years and go and borrow money to hold it. Africa can change its mode of elections, its mode of democracy. China does not have MPs. If I ask anybody, Professor Nyali, to show me one Chinese, one of them, Mr. Win in Nairobi, whether he's an MP, you can't tell me, you have never seen an MP from China. Is there a member of parliament in China? But China sits down and gives us money, which we steal, and go and build our houses in Sungoi. China sits and dishes us the money, which is so much. Yesterday he was saying that in his area there is nobody with poverty. Didn't you hear the man say that? In the entire area of where he was born, there's nobody who is suffering from poverty. So I said, okay. Whereas some of us from Eastern, the poverty is killing. If you don't send some money to our mothers, our sisters from London, you send a pound or a dollar, poverty is killing them. I therefore submit that opposition and other people should look at these factors. One of them, a united opposition can deliver a united victory. Less than that, let's keep quiet and wait for God to take us one by one until Uganda will not have anybody to defend them, to liberate them. Thank you. I submit. Good afternoon, Professor Onyari.
Good afternoon, Dr. Masanga. Well represented.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Doctor, for that. And we know the opposition, led by Robert Changulanyi, they have said they will go to the courts and challenge the presidential results there. And we know what happened in 2016 when Amama Mbambazi went to the court and challenged the win of President Museveni then in 2016. And of course, Court of Appeal upheld the victory of President Museveni. But on top of that, it gave a few recommendations in lines to some electoral reforms that he said should be put in place before this year's elections were to take place. And the government of Uganda, led there by President Museveni, of course, rubbished everything the Court of Appeal had said they should, the recommendations that were given. So now I don't know what the opposition is expecting from the courts there in Uganda. So now the president, who tweaked his name to add Tibu Haburwa, during campaigns laid out what he claimed was a vision he has for not only East Africa, but Africa at large. And President Museveni is quoted as saying, NRM came to deal with the historical problems of Uganda and Africa. We are not job seekers. They think I'm here because I'm looking for a job. They are lying to themselves. And Museveni said while campaigning in the Eastern District of Kumi last November. Professor, thank you for joining us. So President Museveni is saying, I'm not here. I don't need a job. If you think that is what I was looking for, I'm here to solve the problems of Uganda, by extension East Africa, and by extension the larger continent of Africa. So I am here to deal with the historical problems of Uganda and Africa. It's been there for nearly 35 years. What are these historical problems that President Museveni still thinks he wants to deal with and solve, that he has not been able to do all that, and now he has 5 more years to try to do that, I guess?
Miriam, thank you for that question, and I'm happy with the presentation of Dr. Masanga. The continued stay of Museveni in office is an insult to African people. And Miriam, when Nebuchadnezzar conquered the whole world, and he was on the tower of his building, and he could see how he has conquered the whole world. When bride came before him, what was next, Miriam? You fall down. You may believe, you may not believe what I'm about to say, but with time, history will prove me wrong. Museveni is on his way out. People may find me crazy, but I'm saying on his way out. Mm-hmm. How? Miriam, the future of any society belongs to the young people. Miriam, when I mentor and when I talk to the young people, one thing which I tell them, that where I have come from, they cannot tell the story, but I can tell the story because I've been in this world for some time. But where they are going, I can't go, Miriam. That's honest. So what Museveni now has to deal with is talking that he has got a vision for not only for Uganda, for East Africa,
but for Africa
and for Africa at large. Miriam, he does not even have a vision for himself.
He wants to solve our historical problems.
No, let me tell you, he doesn't have a vision for himself, because if someone who has got a vision for himself, he should be able to read the writings that it is his time up to go. Having said this, Miriam, is going to find it so difficult. And I want to thank Dr. Masanga and some of the senior opposition in Uganda, because they have silently handed over the baton. When Dr. Masanga was a young man in the 80s, he can tell you who he was. And the likes of Bobby Wine, Miriam, what that old man has done to his grandson, it is totally unacceptable. Did you see them insulting the wife of Bobby Wine? Did you see the son fighting for the mom, saying you are fighting, you can't do this one to my mom? So those are the kind of generation between the young people, the children, whom Museveni will contend. From where I submit, Miriam, and I want to totally agree with Dr. Masanga, that there is no need for election in Africa. We should come in with a strategy, Miriam, on how we deal with the dictators, Miriam. I told you what Magufuli did, Pombe Magufuli did in Uganda a few days ago. You see, this is the bad manners that the military people, and I've got a warning to give to the military people. Their duty is to protect and safeguard the existence of their country. Not for the presidents, Miriam. Miriam had given a recommendation very well, because I have no doubt that President Mugabe, the late Mugabe, was a revolutionary and a freedom fighter. But I said, Miriam, time is up for Mse. Find a way on how you are going out. You hand over to the next generation. I didn't like on how he came out of power. Miriam, when the next 5 years, Dr. Museveni will be 81 years. He will be a great grandfather. This last time, Miriam, we will find it so difficult. And Miriam, and the bad manners here is that you need your relatives, your wives, your children. You put them in government. That's when you say you remain safe. Why can't they run even from the late Mobutu Sese of Congo, of Zaire, as it was then? How was he buried, Miriam? He was buried as a dog. Miriam, I'm telling you, the young generation is going to be impatient, Miriam. The man whom you can see, Miriam, shutting down the social media and the internet. What was he hiding? What was he hiding? So the way the West come to observe elections in Africa. Election is a process. That's what Dr. Masanga said. The election starts, Miriam, from the registration of voters. You see transparency. Was there civic education to the people which was done? How was the printing of the papers and distribution of the ballot boxes, Miriam, done? How was the counting being done? Miriam, you don't allow the press. You don't allow the journalists. And you tell us that, Miriam, that is an election. Yes. And you tell us that you have got a vision. Oh, my God.
Professor, electricity was switched off in Uganda, so counting was done under the darkness. About 12 hours. It is ridiculous. And then he comes out and said, this is what, before I go to the next person, because you're not here, you already reacted to this. This is what President Museveni said, and I'll quote him, that the election the country has just concluded was the most cheating-free election in the country. And he went ahead to say that the problem Uganda has been having is the chronic problem of cheating in elections. And I wondered, who has been benefiting from all these fraudulent elections? Now he says this one was the most free cheating. I don't even know whether to laugh or just be sad. It's just ridiculous.
Miriam, I always say, when you are saying this, yes, the opposite is true. What he's trying to say, this is the election which there was a lot of cheating. Miriam, even President Museveni goes to the kindergarten class, Miriam, they will chase him. I'm telling the truth. Those kids, you start the internet and the social media, Miriam, they will say there's something you are hiding, even if you are not hiding, Miriam. Miriam, time will tell. We will be here to say that we will defend Africa.
All right.
And we will join the Bob Wine and the young people in Africa. And let me tell you, Miriam, the apartheid regime in South Africa, Miriam, the colonialism in Africa when we were colonized, Miriam, the war about the civil rights in the United States of America, Miriam, the war has just begun. The stone which has started roaring, Miriam, will continue gathering momentum. Watch this space.
Okay, Beryl, thank you so much. And one of our viewers here. And thank you so much for engaging with us this afternoon. I'll just read a few of that. Hajara Ismail, and you're saying, I am a Ugandan. Mseveni Tiba Haburwa, the pharaoh of Uganda and godfather of mafia gang in Uganda, made it difficult to have a true and authentic opposition. I speak with evidence. Most of the opposition in Uganda are allies to Museveni. The true opposition is NUP. That's why we have gone through too much in the electoral process, and that is killings, abductions, and imprisonments. As we speak right now, people are being picked from their homes and they are found dead. Hashtag genocide in Uganda. And all right, now those are very worrying reports there coming from our viewers.
Miriam, let me come in here.
Before you come in,
support. I'm telling you, that's the truth. Didn't you see my analysis? I told you, I am the only veteran. I am from 1981 who has opposed this guy, and I'm still here. The rest of these guys, some of them worked with Museveni. That's why they are shy. That's why we are failing in elections. Do you know why we are failing in elections? People will go and say, look. So until we unite and a new breed like a Chagulai will unite behind him, you see, and keep quiet, have unity behind him. Look, count the number of votes. You count the number of votes. Very soon you will see very many of them running very quickly to get checks, and they disappear. Don't go to court. Don't go and file a petition. I'm telling you, this is the government. Governments work that way in Africa.
All right, very well.
So the only opposition that we need is a united opposition. Don't give it to me, but give it to one person. And if we don't do that in 2026, if we are still alive, and this guy is still there, I am sure that in 2026, this guy will need another term.
Of course.
Don't rule out. You know, people are thinking, I'm not thinking of this election.
But also,
this is already gone.
Dr.
I am planning ahead.
There are new developments while we plan ahead. President Museveni is also planning ahead, and there has been credible information from somebody closer, a lawyer closer to General Muhonzi, which we know is President Museveni's son, General Muhonzi. He spoke on condition of anonymity, and he said once the President Museveni says he's quitting, we want his son to take over, and we are mobilizing for that. So they've started setting up the scene. I don't remember. Uganda must be a monarchy. I don't know. What are you having in that country?
The younger man has, you see, the Uganda constitution could not allow when you are not 40 to ascend to power.
Now he's 46.
Now, President Museveni, that's why the other time in 2011, he said he will go for another 5 years. In 2016, the son was 39. Oh, he had just reached
the 40 they wanted to introduce last year to lock out Bobby Wine, but that did not sail through. They wanted to introduce the minimum age.
It didn't go through.
Yeah.
So they left it free for all.
Yes. But I think that from 35.
Akakuyanga, free for all. Ugandans will understand. So you can stand. Even Katumba can stand. Even when he's not going to get. He tried. So, but if you added all these votes of the opposition, from Tumukunde, General Mugisha, and Amriat, you add them, Mao, you add them to Chagulani, we could have got about 44% of the total vote. And it could have given our voters energy to come out, because they are voting a united opposition. But people are everybody in that opposition has ego.
And
from Besigye.
And they're
The
more.
first, no, let me tell the truth today. What will Besigye do to me?
And others suggest they are sent by the NRM to scatter the vote.
Yes.
And a lot of Ugandans are saying the same.
Besigye also, when he was in power, he never wanted to listen, to bring people. Nze. That is what he's calling. We know Museveni stole the vote, but he is going to steal more as long as we are not united.
All right. So
Let me talk the truth and shame the devil. If you hate me, hate me. What will you do? What? At least my constituents, my mother, at the age of 90, she went and voted with courage. She voted with courage and said, no, you are punishing my son for a long time. And that one vote is it mattered. Thank you, Mama. I will send some money for some big meat. You eat something. You did a great job. Yeah. We didn't talk. See, we don't talk and talk on Twitter or Facebook. We are practical. Tell us that Matsanga's consequence has got a yellow flag. Where is it? Where? What about when I come for you, for it, the whole of Uganda? We shall have a runner for money. I'm preparing for that for 2026. Inshallah. Let me give warning shot. Yes. See whether you can get any vote from Northern Uganda from me. Again, we have been keeping quiet. But time has come for people to be honest. We have been deprived of a state. We are stateless. We are being ridiculed. We are being, even if you have education with degrees, some children insult you on Twitter every morning because you have no state. But don't worry. The pain one day will end. So let me tell the people, that guy who made the comment there is correct.
It's true.
All right.
It's correct. There are people who seem to be brought in this election by Museveni to undermine us. Why should you bring so many of you? Mukisha Muntu should have united with Besigye and Tumukunde and supported this younger man. And then safeguarded him so that they don't beat him up. Now see the way they are beating the Kasimoro boy. The small man in the house. He's not even having food. He has just sent a message. He's not having food. The wife wanted to go out. Their power is cut off. Their water is cut off. They can't flush their toilets. What is this?
That is.
I cannot keep quiet. So next time, let's seek dialogue. Let's seek wider dialogue. Let's sit down. And I've told the Prime Minister Ruakana Rugunda, Muze, you are one of the few peacemakers. Please, cultivate peace at 4 p.m. within the next 11 minutes. I prompted him to come out. Where on the chaser? Where? I told him come out and address. You are leaving this guy threatening us. You are the only peacemaker there. The guy is threatening us. You mean we are not in Tanzania also? We did not fight for this country to remove Idi Amin. Why are you threatening us? When you threaten Kaboy, you have beaten the boy, beaten all his people. Are you the only people who have reserved guns? So I told him, Rugunda, address the country. Hey, mambo inaweza kuwa juku. You can see some countries.
Doctor, when you look at even Ugandans who are commenting right now, a lot of anger, a lot of people are not happy.
Yes,
there.
you need
what is
to
happening
cool
in
down
country?
this anger. President Museveni is an elder. Cool down the anger. You see anger is everywhere. You see Facebook. Go to your Facebook and write that there was a free and a fair election. You do not have even in the account.
Yeah,
your account will be erased.
Facebook is flagging off the messages. They flagged one from, well, but yes.
I'm telling you.
That is true. That is true. They call it fake news. Yes. If you go to congratulate Museveni, that is flagged off as fake news on Facebook.
Yes, they will flag you out. That, you know, those are the beginning. Museveni is killing business. He has no other internet where people are doing their business in internet, transferring money on the internet.
That is, and the closure of internet all those days must have affected the economy.
They are going to close him down. There will be no economy, Mr. Museveni. You can threaten people, but this thing is going to bite even your own generals. They will not be.
It will affect the country.
You try, Miriam, on your. If you want to lose your account,
I don't want to lose my account, and I cannot.
Your Excellency, I congratulate you for a free and a fair election.
Free and
fair. They will delete your account.
Free and fair, and the votes are counted. Yeah. So now let me just get the reaction from the rest of the panelists here. Kidi, I think, has left the conversation because of bad network where he was. But Douglas, now there seems to be plans that says they're organizing. Once President Museveni says he's quitting, we want his son to take over. We are mobilizing for that. That is a lawyer that is working.
Douglas,
yes.
Before Kidi comes,
no, Kidi is gone.
There is Maina. Ambassador Maina is crying to enter.
All right. So yeah, okay. The
production team, can you put Maina through, Ambassador Maina from Paris?
Yes. So as we wait to do that, Douglas, Museveni is apparently his son General Muhoozi is being groomed to take over after his father once he decides he wants to quit. Not when he's defeated. When he decides he's not tired, he wants to quit. Now his son is being groomed to take over after him. Uganda is supposed to be a democracy, not some forced monarchy. Douglas. Well, Daniel.
Douglas is good.
Daniel.
And of course, Dr. Matsanga has put it very clearly of whatever happenings that have been going there in Uganda. And from the way Museveni has been acting, Miriam, since he took power in 1986, is a man who is hell-bent to ensure that power does not move away from him. And that is a real dynasty. What William Ruto talks here in Kenya is not a dynasty, because when you look at the Ugandan system of government, since 1986, we only have one man at the helm of power. And it's very unfortunate that we Kenyans, in as much as we show solidarity with the people of Uganda, we have instances where the deputy president has been seen even campaigning for President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. So therefore, Miriam, whatever recommendation that Dr. Matsanga has given here on the TV here today, and whatever recommendation that he has been giving since mid last year, those are what the opposition leaders should take into consideration. And the only way to remove President Kaguta Yoweri Museveni is by having a force which is equal to what he's giving out now in terms of dealing with them. And only that, Miriam, is what they will be able to do in order to counter that. But if they continue thinking that perhaps they'll use democratic processes to remove him in power, that is a very, very far-fetched notion, and it might not be able to give the people of Uganda the liberation that they are looking for.
All right. Thank you so much. And just going through some of the comments from our viewers from Uganda, there are a lot of them saying Ugandans are being killed, during the night or something like that. So apparently there are some killings that are going on there in Uganda. I wish we could get more information on what is really happening there, because as we know right now, there's a heavy censorship of information. Anything that is coming from Uganda is heavily censored by the government. So it's very difficult from outside outside media to know what's happening there in Uganda, and we know that even the local television stations and the news agencies there in Uganda, they can't really report things as they censor to the core, and even the international media that are right now in Uganda, they are restricted even in terms of where they can go and collect the news. So it's very difficult working under such circumstances. Professor Jared Onyari, apparently now, President Museveni's son, General Muhonzi, is being groomed to take after his father when the father decides, okay, fine, I think now I'm tired, so I'll quit, but, my son will take over because that's what he wants.
Miriam, those who don't learn from history, they are condemned to repeat it. And Miriam, when you rule people in an autocratic way and you want to stretch your hand in power through your family, Miriam, let them just go and read what history does for them. Miriam, you don't succeed. If that is the way you go, Miriam, that's one way of finishing your family, Miriam. Kabila died in Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The son took over. Is he not out of power? There is nothing permanent, Miriam. Miriam, watch this space I'm trying to say. And now if the opposition cannot learn from this, Miriam, too bad for them. The war to remove Museveni and his cronies and his relatives from power, Miriam, has started. It is no longer in the Masanga's generation, Miriam. What Masanga, Dr. Masanga's and us will be doing, Miriam, is to mentor this young Miriam. You can, Miriam, Bob Wine getting 3.5 million votes without having a campaign, without having any coming out of his house. Most of the time he was under house arrest, Miriam. That is a big statement, Miriam. Miriam, what you think, Miriam, God is sleeping in heaven? What has the wife of Bob Wine done to deserve that, Miriam? When you ensure that you put him in house arrest, they cannot come in, you cut water, you cut electricity, Miriam. Even the devil, Miriam, cannot do that. So let them just continue grooming his son. But what I know, Miriam, he won't go far. Just go down here. I've used Zimbabwe as a case study. What did the wife do? Messed up with the freedom fighter, Miriam. Where is she today? So, Miriam, it is a matter of time.
It's just a matter of time.
I don't know, it can happen today. It can happen after 6 years. It can happen out of the 10 years. Miriam, the seed of change, a revolutionary change has begun.
It started in and as we speak right now.
When you hear Dr. Masanga says Miriam and you think it's a joke, he said you are the only one who fought to remove Amin from power. He said telling them you think that he's the only one who knows how to use the gun. Miriam, you can cheat people, all people, but not all the time, Miriam.
Well, he's saying this time this was the most cheating-free. Cheating-free. And doctor, before you come in, the report that you're receiving from one of our viewers here, and I saw somewhere earlier, is some of NUP members of parliament who had just been elected through the opposition are being arrested. I don't know for what reason there. So that is what we are getting from Uganda. Members of parliament alleged to
one of the MPs whom they have beaten. They beat him in piecemeal, like Zake, the MP for Mitiana municipality. You know, it is like they have just said, on this day we shall beat him the leg, the other day we shall beat him the ear. They beat this boy until crippled him. Yesterday, he went to see what is happening to Bob Wine. At the gate, he found soldiers. They beat him up. Broke again the same lungs.
What kind of nonsense is that?
Then they drove him to the police station without charging him.
What law did he break?
Without calling the wife. And then they called the wife to come and collect, thinking that he had died. Come and collect. Your man is here. Look at this. Let me tell you, there are things that one can stomach. But you cannot stomach this type of things. That's why Ugandans, be patient. A solution is coming. Don't take the law in the hands and do the way Museveni is doing. Let's exhaust all the channels of peaceful channels. Somewhere in this world, one of these superpowers will help us. And it has, the 2 or 3 have lined up already. Don't worry. Some of these Mohozis will not be able to travel anywhere. They can enjoy the money in Kempinski and where in East Africa. But they have to be careful. You beat people, but document the people beating. Take their photos. You know, some people might not be able also to travel. You go for visa, they say sorry. Where are you going? We don't want you to take violence. Where? We don't want violence in our place. So, I'm happy. I've told Rugunda, I'm happy. I'm told he's going to address at 4. He has just clicked 4 p.m. East African Standard Time. And I can see from one of the studios across my sitting room, he is on. So if your station can cross over and pick NBS, Mr. Ruakana Rugunda is going to be there in a few minutes. One-on-one, they want to ask, because I told him that you are the only peacemaker left. This guy, the other one, does not want to listen. Does not want to listen to the word peace. In fact, the word peace is very sour in his mouth. His Excellency the President, the word peace is very sour. I ask me, there you are.
All right,
the Prime Minister of Uganda, you can cross over to NBS. The Prime Minister of Uganda is talking about peace. Yes.
Yes, that will take a moment. I think they're working on it. When they're ready, they'll have me know. And also, I think we are closely coming to the end of our show.
But it is our time to go, Miriam.
Yes.
It is also our time to go.
Yes.
So that we don't lose the SOPs.
I wanted to hear from Douglas. I don't know if he's back there. Douglas.
Not there.
All right, Daniel.
Douglas.
Daniel.
Yes, Miriam, in conclusion, what Dr. Matsanga and Professor Jared Onyari have said, that is the correct prescription that we need in Uganda. We do not we do not have to propagate whatever President Yoweri Museveni is doing, but we need to talk about peace. We now need to talk about how we're going to bring these people together and be able to see the bigger picture in terms of ensuring that we talk about now how Ugandans are able to regain the economy back and be able to talk now liberation in other terms, not going into conflict. That is what I think should be the way forward.
All right, and Caroline Power, you're saying Museveni's armies, they're pulling people out of their houses at night and kidnapping them and killing them. This has been the theme of a lot of the comments we're getting here. Very worrying reports there, so we just pray that you're safe wherever you are. If you're talking to us from Uganda, which I doubt because you don't have the internet, but just in case, make sure that you're safe wherever you're watching us from. Professor, your last word before Doctor finishes for us.
Miriam, this was a very wonderful discussion, and we keep on asking, is there a need for elections in Africa? Democracy in Africa is one thing. This is the kind of conversation, Miriam, which we will keep on discussing and talking about. In the long run, Miriam, we will have a solution. To the elderly and the aged presidents in Africa, the rights of Museveni, Miriam, my only advice, I will tell them that their time is up. And the young generation, Miriam, history does not need any of them to add to enrich history, because it is enough. The way you will get out of power, you will not even imagine. Bride has come, and when bride comes, Miriam, the next thing you do, Miriam, is to fall down, Miriam. The continued Miriam, how did the Arab uprisings come in North Africa, Miriam? It is only they went and banned the kiosk for a younger man, Miriam, who was trying to hack a Miriam. Mm-hmm. And you see the kind of havoc it caused in North Africa, in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Libya. Remember all those kind of things, Miriam. It all went up to Syria, Miriam. So Miriam, let them just continue using the soldiers. And the history tells me that nobody who has used the soldiers, Miriam, the military Miriam, the army, to sustain himself. It is just a matter of time. And those army, those military people will turn against you. Mm-hmm. And you may not like it, Miriam.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much. And I was just going through some of the comments here, and a lot of Ugandans, after we revealed that General Muhonzi is being groomed to take over after his father, that is just a bitter pill. Doctor, finish it for us.
It's muted.
All right, and as we speak, the opposition leader, Bobi Wine, is under house arrest. Yes, because if your freedom of movement is being restricted for no reason at all, and you have a whole contingent of army surrounding your house as if you are Osama bin Laden or something, well, that amounts to house arrest. So that is what is happening right now. Then you got the doctor. Finish for us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, fellow Ugandans, fellow Africans, fellow East Africans, the world at large. It is very important that elections in Uganda were concluded. President Museveni was handed over on a silver platter by his nominee the mantle to lead Uganda for 6 years, which some of us are not very comfortable with. But in a football match, there comes a time, even when the ref is very bad, for you to admit, I've supported Liverpool for 43 years. There are times when we have been beaten Kabisa, we are flat down and we don't even win even a half a cup. We go home crying in the trains. We fight. We almost throw bottles at each other. In excitement, not in anger. But we tell our opponents that we shall come back. We shall come back. Liverpool man like me, I never walk alone. That's why I'm now telling you I am the most senior veteran activist politician in left since 1981. Yesterday I wrote a letter to dear my late president. I know he's not here to read it. I said, I told you let's get this guy when he was in Speak Hotel that night before he left for the bush. When I went to the president, the late president, across the parliament buildings from Speak Hotel, the president asked me, how did you, no, we can't do that. We shall talk to him. Very many people we said, please, this man is leaving tonight. The intelligence was very clear. Today, that's where the man is. I wrote to my former president. The late president is dead, so he can't read the letter. That one thing that I promised him was to win in a red shirt. And I've been crying for this red shirt. Miriam, you remember, I almost wanted to take Mr. Bob Wine to court for having hijacked UPC red shirt. But I later on found out that my son, Bob Wine Chagulanyi, had good intentions for people of Uganda. But I told him that President Museveni now, and let me tell President Museveni to hear me. I don't know whether he has, for him he has internet left. is watching. And you are watching this mouth, which has been telling you so many times. I'm the only one who has never come begging to you. You have conned my money. 332,000 United States dollars that I did allowances during the Konyi peace talks. Mr. President, Amelia Chambade, I sponsored that musician to beat him. And I'm very happy, and I want to tell you to listen. I am very happy for Amelia Chambade to be trounced by a simple musician of Kadongo Kamu, of one guitar man. That's very good. That woman cheated my money. You instructed her to pay me. The European Union was going to pay me. I went to Konyi. Konyi was going to kill me. You never even bothered to give me my money. If I were from your Nyabushozi, your home, you would have paid me. But because I'm a Mugisu, you never paid me. That money, publicly, let me tell the world. Let me tell everybody. Even in Kenya, let them know. 332,000 United States dollars of 2008 was huge money. I was left in debt. All my friends were paid their allowances. But because a president of Uganda with his sweet tongue, including that Rugunda, you see there, who is talking now, that Ruakana Rugunda. When he tried to chase the money, Amelia had already hammered the money. I gave up. But I want to tell the people of Uganda that since peace is holding in northern Uganda, I am the most happiest man. And I will never, never undermine peace. God has moved me to another level. I have healed. I've lost. When I returned to London, this house was going to be sold. After 2 years of working hard, I returned with a trouser and a briefcase. And you know how a wife would look at you and laugh at you. That I told you, Miriam is a mother, she knows. When your husband has gone out to hunt, then he comes with nothing. When others are coming, women will not always be very good. But my wife, I thank you for being tolerant. You said don't even ask for the money. Let them eat. Chance will come up again. 332,772 dollars. It was up. All these efforts I did to bring peace, I did it for nothing. That's the government in Kampala, you see. So, if people don't learn from me what has happened to me, then I don't know. Lastly, despite all these difficulties, I want to urge Ugandans not to take the law in their hands, not to become like them. Let's pursue a peaceful direction of judiciary. We know the courts are bought by him, but let's expose the courts also. Some of these judges will not be appointed in the ICC. By the way, Miriam, the man that I blocked in ICC failed. I think you have heard that. The selection, he failed. The Spanish man has taken it. So I'm not a joke. I'm not this kwara simple man you can play with. When I start on you, you don't go. So let's finish everything that President Museveni is threatening people in Uganda. and bring that data. And I want to tell Besigye not to write cheap letters to the ICC. Ask us, ask me. Mr. Besigye, ask me. Let's take a credible letter. You will see. Don't write cheap letters based on anger with Lukwago. No. This is the man who can knock international agency. When I said Ghana cannot become the chief prosecutor, the world listened, the English listened, the Canadians listened. Wachana, give a man where it is due. Don't give right there this English, which now the chief prosecutor writes back and said, we have received your letter. No, there is a way. We want this documented. And we are going to keep the campaign. President Museveni is not a good talker. He is not a good orator on television. Matanga, I beat him flat out. You wait, I did it. We are going to keep this campaign in Sky News, CNN, BBC. You wait. Itakuwa moto. Paka, he leaves these children. This small man is beating for free. You are beating them, rule your country. But don't beat them every day, man. Don't. And I'm happy Dr. Rugunda is talking. He can talk, but I've told him my point of view.
And
we have all, both of us have been in exile before.
Yes, and I think during tomorrow's show, because I think the story in Uganda is very important to the continent of Africa, we shall bring our viewers up to date with what Dr. Rugunda said there. And Doctor, while you say Ugandans should pursue all the available legal processes, what others are telling me here is that the courts have been suspended for 3 months. They have not been working because of COVID-19. So I don't know if there will be a special sitting there to hear the case that I know will be appealed.
If there is no special, if there is no special sitting, then he cannot be thrown in.
All right.
The Constitution is very clear.
Constitution and Ugandan leadership, they don't even go together.
No. Yesterday, if they passed 1 minute past 4 without announcing the presidential election results, they would be nullified by law. There are some judges in Uganda that are very good. Not all the judges agree with this guy. No, people are fed up. People are fed up. So a court must finish all the petitions before 12th of May. That is the swearing in ceremony of His Excellency, the Commander of the Commander was Zavango Seko. The man, 40 years reigning power. Mungu. Katonda tuyambe.
All right. And yes. Doctor, I was while you were talking, I went to the African Union website and the Twitter and all that. And I was just trying to see, have they put out a statement? Because the things that are happening in Uganda right now, with all things that our viewers are telling us, people being kidnapped, people missing, people being killed, the opposition, and the leader now is under house arrest. And I was hoping perhaps AU has been following these events very keenly and maybe put up a statement. I've not seen that, which is quite disappointing, but I'm not surprised.
No, Miriam, in conclusion.
In conclusion,
please,
I'm surprised.
I'm
disappointed. Yes.
By mentioning the word AU. I was going home nicely.
We need to go home. But before we go home,
Yeah. I was going home.
Yes.
Let me finish. I was going home to cook lunch for my wife because it's lunch time. This time for cooking lunch. Please. Yeah, it is about time to eat. Don't spoil my stomach with AU. The AU delegation were six. They left, they disappeared on Tuesday. to return to Addis Ababa. So how can they write a report which they have not seen? The AU chairperson is a candidate for Chad presidency. He has fixed Idris because Idris received the money from the Chinese who has been imprisoned in the US. So he's busy collecting money from France to stand as a candidate in Chad. The brother of Ambassador Maina. So they are eating money, you know. Ambassador Maina wanted to join us, but I don't know what has happened. 2, AU is dead. It's dead. AU cannot even condemn Museveni. He's dead. If they condemn Museveni, he will pull troops from Somalia. Where will you get the troops in to guard Al-Shabaab? Umeona, we have been blackmailed.
Well, that is terrible. That is terrible. Yes.
We are on our own.
All right. Yeah, so and that is how a lot of Ugandans are feeling this afternoon, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Ugandans. Thank you very much, all of you Kenyans. Thank you very much, Africa, all of you who have watched. This is the only watch all the time. This is the only station on the continent of Africa.
They can't speak there, but we're going to continue speaking here because we have a responsibility to this continent.
We shall speak the truth.
Yes.
We shall don't give up. We shall struggle on peacefully, not with violence, until we bring somebody to trial. And watch my lips.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga, and our brothers and sisters from Uganda there. We hear you, and reading a lot of your comments here, it's quite disheartening, and you're all yearning for a change, and change, I think, has started there in Uganda. And for President Museveni to come out yesterday and say, this is the most free and fair elections the country has ever witnessed, I think is very hypocritical. Well, he knows very well that his government, removed all the safeguards that will ensure a free and fair election in a country, switched off the light, the voting was being counted during a major blackout, social media cannot be accessed. Credible observers could not really come to the country and do the observation there, and the freedom of people has been curtailed, the freedom of press, and yet President Museveni comes out to tell us that this was very free and fair election. President Museveni, no. And Africa is watching and the world is watching, and we shall continue talking. Thank you so much for watching.